partial federal government shutdown, the focus of a lot of people out there, especially with the potential of furloughs, people being let go from working for the federal government, to even some subsidy programs like women, infant, and children. Will funding continue for that? Well, we've got a whole host of things to tackle here, especially with the reaction from the White House and Governor J.D. Pritzker right here in Illinois with Illinois in Focus Daily. With you each and every weekday morning. Get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. So we talked about this Wednesday morning, as at 12:01 Wednesday morning, federal government partially shut down, and all the different things that are still going to be going out. Mail is still going to be delivered. Social Security checks are still going to be processed. However, if you need to do some changes for your Social Security information, there might be some delays. You've got a whole host of other things, the farming programs and military, some saying that the military is not going to get paid, but border and immigration, they say that they've got enough funds to continue forward with some of their social media messaging. So clearly, a lot of uncertainty here as to how long this is going to take to get to an agreement. But why did we get to this situation? The White House held a press briefing yesterday, and Vice President J.D. Vance jumped up at the podium and talked about why he thinks the federal government barreled towards a shutdown, with Democrats being strong-headed.
What they have done instead is to shut down the government because we won't give billions of dollars to health care funding for illegal aliens. That is what has actually happened. To the American people who are watching, the reason your government is shut down at this very minute is because, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of congressional Republicans and even a few moderate Democrats supported opening the government, the Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition.
So he says that it's the fact that Democrats wanted non-citizens to get health care coverage. Democrats have said that's not true. But in Illinois, we do have programs in place that give health care subsidies to non-citizen migrants. We had a program for adults, the HBIA, the Health Benefits for Immigrant Adults. That was in place, cost hundreds of millions of dollars of your tax dollars here in Illinois, going to pay for non-citizens to get health care benefits. We also had the HBIA, the HBIS, which is the Health Benefits for Immigrant Seniors. Audits of both of those programs showed program overruns and things going above and beyond what was budgeted. Hundreds of millions of dollars, 200+% increase, plus a whole host of problems with the verification of those individuals getting your subsidies. So clearly, you've got the cost happening in here in Illinois where it did happen. So while national Democrats say that it's not true that Democrats wanted to have health insurance be covered by taxpayers or shut the government down, you've got that happening in Illinois. Now, Governor Pritzker has, after audits, shored up the programs. We no longer have the Health Benefits for Immigrant Adults program, 42 to 65, I believe, or is it 45 to 62? The Health Benefits for Immigrant Seniors, though, 62 and up, that is still in place, and they've budgeted about $140 million for that. But that's just part of the cost of all of the non-citizen subsidies that the state of Illinois has been providing. But we're not talking about the state budget. We're talking now about the federal budget. So no continued resolution was agreed upon. Democrats didn't vote for it. Republicans staying strong in their position as well. Governor J.D. Pritzker sounding off on why he thinks that the federal government shut down.
The issue with the shutdown, as you know, is that the agencies don't get reimbursed for the services that they provide. So if the shutdown goes on for some period of time, that's where you'll see the problem. We also have, as you know, 45,000 people, you may know, 45,000 people in the state of Illinois who are being furloughed as a result of that shutdown. And then I'll just take it up 10,000 feet to remind everybody that why this shutdown is taking place. The President of the United States decided to shut down the government because he's unwilling to sit down with Democrats to discuss things, and he thinks that the right thing to do is simply to fold his arms and let people go without pay, to get furloughed, and let all the services that people rely upon shut down. I think that's wrong. And I think that instead, because you need Democratic votes to get something done here, that he should simply sit down with the leaders and actually hash out a deal. He wrote a book, or supposedly wrote a book, called The Art of the Deal, and says he's a great deal maker. Time to go to work.
So Pritzker saying that the federal government shutdown is because of the inability for the Trump administration to be open to listening to Democrats. He continued on with another question about the government shutdown.
Unfortunately, the president is likely to keep the militarization going. He can do that because there are emergency personnel and military personnel that he can keep on the job. He is likely to do that, while people who deserve to get their Social Security checks and Medicaid and SNAP, and we can go on, while they go without. And instead, the militarization will go on, while innocent and vulnerable people will suffer.
Now, something like SNAP has funding in it for a certain amount of time. And you've got the push from Democrats saying, well, health insurance is going to increase, and the White House pushing back saying that's not going to happen until the next quarter or the next year begins. So all of these things, you got a lot of rhetoric coming into the issue of a government shutdown, and it's going to impact the economy. There's no question. You're going to have federal employees lose their job. It's going to cause uncertainty in the markets. And Vice President J.D. Vance, again, reacting to the government shutdown, saying that it's because Democrats wanted health care coverage, your tax dollars, to cover illegal immigrants' health care coverage.
I think a lot of Americans are asking themselves, why did this happen? Why did the Democrats shut down the government despite, as Caroline said, voting on the exact same piece of legislation 6 months ago? And there are a lot of different spins that we can put on it, a lot of different answers that we could give, all of them true. One answer I already gave is that they want to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. That is true. They gave us legislative text that would have undone us cutting off health care benefits for illegal aliens. That's one of the things that they asked for. But the reality here, and let's be honest about the politics, is that Chuck Schumer is terrified she's going to get a primary challenge from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The reason why the American people's government is shut down is because Chuck Schumer is listening to the far-left radicals in his own party because he's terrified of a primary challenge. So I'd invite Chuck Schumer to join the moderate Democrats and 52 Senate Republicans, do the right thing, open up the people's government, and then let's fix healthcare policy for the American people.
How's this going to play out? Will it last days? Will it last weeks? I mean, here in Illinois, we know what it's like to go without a state budget for about, 2.5 years? We were on autopilot back then. I don't know if it's the same story for the federal government, so we'll see what happens here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for the latest from the Center Square.